Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tuassir wa tammim bil khair. Let's begin lesson number 12. In this lesson, we will learn about adverb of time and place, maf'ulun fihi. And then we will learn about the conditional sentence, al-jumlatu shartiyya. And then also the use of min qablu wa min ba'du. As we know that in lesson number 6, we learned about dharf. And in lesson number 4, we learned about the types of noun. So when we learned about the types of noun, we have seen that there are two types of noun. Ismun jamidun, the solid noun, and ismun mushtaqun, the derived noun. And when we talked about the derived noun, we also talked about dharf. For example, sajada, yasjudu, and the dharf we know as masjidun. And similarly, la'iba, yal'abu, mal'abun. So when we say mal'abun wa masjidun, we know that this is a derived dharf, and this is also declinable. For example, we can say masjidun, masjidan, masjidin. In this lesson, we can see over here that dharfun, basically, we are learning about maf'ulun fihi, adverb of time and place. So this is basically solid noun, ismun jamidun. In lesson number 6, we learned about the derived dharf, which was like masjidun or matbakhun. And here, the dharf that we will talk about is basically the original dharf. It's not derived from any verb. As we know that in Arabic language, there are only 3 kinds of words: ismun, wa fi'lun, wa harfun. Noun, verb, and particle. Noun is very broad in Arabic language. Basically, all the pronouns, all the adjectives, and similarly, all the adverbs like dhuruf, all of them, they fall into the category of the noun. So that's why we will say that dharf is basically a noun in the broader perspective. And when we talk about it individually, then we will say that this is dharf. And we know that there are only 2 types of dharf. Dharfun makanun, for the place. And basically it answers to the question like where. And dharfun zamanun, it gives the answers to the question when. So when we talk about makan, for example, we talk about something fawqa wa tahta. And similarly, when we talk about zaman, we say like amsi and qattu. Amsi means yesterday and qattu means never. So now we can see over here that fawqa wa tahta, they refer to the place, makan, and amsi wa qattu, they refer to the time, which is called zamanun. Al-maf'ulu fihi, the object of time and place. Now, why we used the word object over here? If you remember, we have discussed about al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu. Maf'ulun, and the plural of maf'ulun is mafa'ilu. Al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu, 5 objects in Arabic language. The first one that is the most common, we have learned about maf'ul bihi. Maf'ul bihi, for example, you say qara'tu al-Qur'ana. So I recited the Quran. Then we have also learned about maf'ul mutlaq, the absolute object. When we say warattilil Qur'ana tartila, so when we use masdar as maf'ul bihi to emphasize the idea, that is called maf'ul mutlaq. For example, darabtu darban, similarly qara'tu qira'atan. So when we use masdar, that is used for emphasis. And the third one we can see here, this is al-maf'ulu fihi, which is called the object of time and place, and it denotes the time or place in which the action takes place. Or for example, you say qara'tul Qur'ana. Okay, now Quran, what kind of maf'ul is this? This is maf'ul bihi, as we discussed earlier. Qara'tu al-Qur'ana. This is maf'ul bihi. Why we call it maf'ul bihi? Because this is the direct object or the direct receiver of the action. So when we talk about the direct object, that is called maf'ul bihi. And when we talk about time, like sabahan, as we can see here, so time, and similarly when we talk about place, amam al-muallimi, so as we can see here, so when we talk about time and place, and that is basically called adverb or object of time and place, and it is also called dharf as well. So when you say قرأت القرآن صباحا أمام المعلم, I read the Quran in the morning in front of the teacher. So we have time in the morning, and then we have place in front of the teacher. And we know that dharfun or maf'ulun fihi is always mansub. It is always mansub. As we can see over here, sabahan, and similarly, amama is also mansub. And similarly, we can see that all kinds of maf'ul or mafa'il, like al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu, all the 5 objects, because we call them object, and we know that object in Arabic is always mansub. Now we have more examples from the lesson, basically. So, for example, you say kharajtu laylan, as you can see here. So I went out at night. So we can see that night is time. Similarly, you say sa'usafiru ghadan insha'Allah. I will or I shall travel tomorrow. So ghadan also talks about time. And nimtu ba'da naumika. I slept after you slept. So this is called, all of them, they are called dharf az-zamani, adverb of time, because they tell us about the time. Okay, now we have discussed a lot about dharf. We have also discussed that they are always mansub, and we have also seen that some of them are used as special mudaf. So which one of them over here is used as special mudaf? Laylan is not mudaf, ghadan is not mudaf, ba'da naumika, ba'da. So you can see after ba'da, the noun is majroor. So that means that ba'da is used as special mudaf. So that means whenever we use it, the noun that follows it will be always majroor, because it will be mudaf ilayhi. Similarly, we have examples of dharf al-makan. Mashaytu milan, milan, I walked a mile. So we can see here that this is like makan, place. Similarly, jalastu inda al-mudiri, I sat at the headmasters or with the headmaster. So inda, as you know, that this is also used as special mudaf. That's why the noun that we have after that is mudaf ilayh. These are small details, and we have discussed about them many times. So inshallah, you should be familiar with these changes and these details now. And similarly, you say nimtu tahta shajaratin. Tahta is also used as special mudaf, and that's why we can see that the noun that follows it is also mudaf ilayh, and it is also majroor. I slept under a tree. So inda and tahta, they are used as mudaf, whereas milan only talks about place, it talks about time. So these are the examples of dharf al-makani. Some dhuruf, which is the plural of dharf, some dhuruf are mabni. Here are some examples. So mabni means that their ending is fixed. Aina. So we will say that aina is mabniyun ala al-fathi. It is mabni ala al-fath. Amsi. It is mabni ala al-kasra. So whether it is used in a sentence in the place of subject or object or majroor, it will be always mabni ala al-kasra. So this is mabni ala al-fath, and this is mabniyun ala al-kasra. Qattu and haythu, both of them are mabni ala dhamma. So qattu and haythu, please note it down that both of them are mabni ala dhamma. And huna and mata, both of them are mabni ala sukun. So because we know that here huna, the alif is sakin, and mata, here alif maqsura is sakina. So we can see that they are mabni ala sukun. Now when we say mata kharajta, so basically the original construction will be kharajta mata, right? The original construction will be kharajta mata, but we know that mata is a noun which is used to ask a question. So this is basically ismul istifham, and we have discussed in the previous lesson that all asma'ul istifham, they always come in the beginning of the sentence, because we need to start a sentence with them. So here basically mata is in the place of the receiver of the action. So kharajta, yani anta kharajta, fail plus file, and this is in the place of maf'ul fihi. Now we will say that mata is maf'ul fihi, and we wouldn't say that mata is maf'ul bihi. So that is the only difference. In either case, it is in the place of the object, but this is not the direct object. Now we will say that this is object of place or time. When did you go out? And the same goes with aina. So it's basically tadrusu aina, but aina has to come in the beginning of the sentence though, because it is used to ask a question. So tadrusu means fail plus file. So that's why it will be in the place of maf'ul fihi. Where do you study? Lam aghib amsi. So lam aghib amsi, I wasn't absent yesterday. Similarly, amsi is in the place of object. It is maf'ul fihi. Now it has kasra. Would that mean that it is majroor? No, it is not majroor.
Mabni Ustad.
It is
It's
mabni al
Mabni.
kasra. Excellent. So basically, it is mansub. It is mansub, but we know that it is mabni al kasra, and that's why we will say that this is mansub, but this is mabni al kasra. Ahsanti. Then we have lam adhuq hadhihi al-fakihata qattu. I have never tasted this fruit. And similarly, qattu is also in the place of mansub, but it is not mansub with fatha, it is mansub with dhamma because it is also mabniyun ala dhamma. Ijlis huna, ijlis fail plus file, fail al-amr as we know, and huna is also maf'ul fihi, sit here, and this is also in the place of maf'ul fihi, this is also mansub. And then we have ijlis haythu shi'ta, sit where you like. So again, ijlis is fail plus file, and haythu is in the place of maf'ul fihi, which is object. And the same information is over here, that when we say lam aghib amsi, the word amsi is dharf az-zaman, it is mabniyun, ending in kasra, and it is in the place of fi mahalli nasbin. So the only thing that we need to say that this is in the place of maf'ul, or it is in the place of mansub, or we will say that this is fi mahalli nasbin. Similarly, when we say aina tadrusu, the word aina is dharf makan, it is mabni al-fatha as we know, and ending in fatha, and it is in the place of nasb. So this is fi mahalli nasbin. So both of them, they are in the place of nasb, but here it is nasb bil kasra, and this is nasb bil fatha. Now we have minute details. And why do we need to know the minute details? Because now, mashallah, you are like advanced students, and we need to know that that in the past we used to know that the dharf is only used to talk about time and place, but now we have a little bit more details, and inshallah they will help you a lot. Even when you start teaching Arabic, inshallah these lessons will help you a lot, and you can refer back to these lessons, and we can get all the information that we need. So words which function as dharf, they function as a dharf. So that means naibu al-dharfi. Like we had naibu al-fa'ili, similarly we have naibu al-dharfi, and they are the deputy of the dharf. A word may represent a dharf and take a nasb ending, even though originally it is not a word denoting time or place. So it may not refer to time and place, but still it can function as a dharf. So we can see here like words like kullun, وَبَعْضٌ وَنِصْفٌ وَرُبْعٌ. When they have place and time words as their mudaf ilayh, we know that all of them, kullun وَبَعْضٌ وَنِصْفٌ وَرُبْعٌ, they are used as mudaf. So when they have mudaf ilayh and the mudaf ilayh refers to time or place, then they will also be considered as dharf. And for example, you say safarna kullan nahari, we traveled the whole day. Now kulla is mansub here. It is in the place of mansub because safarna fail plus file, and this is in the place of maful fihi. Now why it is maful fihi? Because of an-nahari, because we know that an-nahar refers to time, and because we have used kulla and it's a part of an-nahari, that's why we will say that now kulla is also functioning as a dharf. Similarly, when we say baqitu fil mustashfa ba'da yawmin, I remained in the hospital for part of the day. So when you can see here ba'da yawmin, so basically yawmin is dharf, but when we use ba'da with that, so we will say that ba'da is also naibul dharf, yani it is also functioning as dharf. Intadhartuka rub'a sa'atin, I waited for you 15 minutes. And here sa'atin is dharf and rub'a has become dharf, the deputy of the dharf because of sa'atin, because it is used as mudaf for sa'atin. And similarly you say mashaytu nisfa kilometrin, I walked half a kilometer, and here nisfa has become naibul dharf because of kilometrin. So this is extra information, but inshallah it will help us a lot. B, the adjective of a dharf after the dharf itself has been omitted. So for example, what happened here? You wanted to say jalastu waqtan tawilan. I sat for a long time. But when you simply say jalastu tawilan, now what happened? Waqtan has been dropped. So now tawilan has taken over the place of the dharf. So now we will say that when you say jalastu tawilan, now we will say that jalastu is fail plus file and tawilan is maf'ul fihi. Why it is maf'ul fihi? Because it has taken the place of the dharf. The dharf has been dropped and it has taken the place of the dharf. In the first sentence, tawilan is mansub because it functions as a dharf. So it's confirmed now that it is doing the job of the dharf, but it is not a dharf by itself. A demonstrative pronoun, which is called ismul ishara, whose badal is a word denoting time or place. So ismul ishara, sometimes we say that musharan, ishara and musharan ilayh, and also sometimes we can say that ismul ishara plus badal. So when you say ji'tu hadha al-usbu'a, so now here hadha is ismul ishara and al-usbu'a it is badal. So al-usbu, as we know that it is used, it refers to time. So because we have used hadha for the time, similarly now we can say that hadha is not ismul ishara, it is naibul dharfi. Here hadha is mabni and in the place of nasb. It is in the place of nasb. Why? Because it is used in the place of, or it has become dharf and or naibul dharf. So that's why we will say it is mansub. Even though we know that hadha is mabniyun, but when it is used in a sentence, then we will say that this is mahallan mansub or majroor or marfu. Numbers representing place and time words. Similarly, the numbers they also become naibul dharf. For example, makathu fi Baghdada arba'ata ayyamin. I stayed in Baghdad for 4 days. And sirna miyata kilometrin. We have traveled 100 kilometers. Here, arba'ata is mansub because it represents a word denoting time, ayyamin, and miyata is also mansub because it represents a word denoting place, which is kilometrin. So now arba'ata and miyata are naibul dharf. And the last one we can see here, in the same way the word kam, how many functions as dharf if it represents a time or a time place word. For example, kam labithta. So when we say kam labithta, it means how long did you stay or how many days or hours did you stay. And kam mashayta, how many kilometers did you walk. So now here kam, because it refers to how long, it refers to the distance, it refers to distance, and similarly how many, it refers to the number. So whenever we use kam when it refers to time or when it refers to place, then also it functions as a dharf. So we will say that this is mabniyun or this is naibul dharfi, that it is doing the job of the dharf. Point number 2, conditional sentence. The particle law, as we can see here, is used to express an unfulfilled condition in the past. So law, we know that it is sakin, waw is sakin, so we will say mabniyun ala sukun. But when we connect it with the word that has hamzatul wasl, as we can see here, ijtahatta is basically, it has hamzatul wasl. So when we connect it, we will say lawij tahatta lanajahta. Had you worked hard, you would have passed. So that means that you did not work hard and so you did not pass. So it's basically used for had and then would, the combination of this. So whenever we talk about something that when someone failed to do something, then we use this conditional sentence and we use law, and inshallah we will also look at the example of the law from the Quran when we start our lesson. Now we can see here that the first part is called shartun, condition, which starts with law. The second part is called jawab shart, which is called reply to the condition, which starts with la. So as we can see here, lawish tahatta la najahta. So normally it comes with la. It takes la with that. However, this lam is mostly omitted if the jawab is negative. But when jawab shart is negative, then this lam will be omitted. It will be dropped. Law arafta annaka maridun ma ta'akharta. Had I known that you are sick, I would not have been late. So now we didn't say lama ta'akharta, we didn't use la with that. Why? Because it is negative, and with the negative, we don't use la, only with the sentences that are positive or affirmative. With them, when we use them as a jawab shart, then with jawab shart, we have to use la, which is very, very important. So for making conditional sentence, we use law in the beginning of a sentence, and in both of the parts of the sentence, you can see in both of the parts of the sentence, with shart and jawab shart, we use the past tense. Also, please note it down that with both parts of the shart, as of now, we can see that we use the past tense. So لو عرفت أنك مريض ما تأخرت. So we can see that both of them are past tense. And similarly over here, لو اجتهدت لنجحت. So اجتهدت is past tense, and لنجحت is also past tense. من قبل ومن بعد, this expression we have discussed in detail in book number 2. So we know that من قبل and من بعد, we know that قبل and بعد, they are used as special mudaf. So when mudaf ilayh is omitted, then they will be mabni ala dhamma. And when mudaf ilayh is mentioned, then they will decline like a regular noun. For example, we see here, أنا الآن مدرس, I am a teacher now. وكنت مديرا من قبل ذلك. And before that, I was the headmaster. So now you can see here, min qabli dhalika. Now here it has declined. Why it has declined? Because after that we have mudaf ilayh. So it's very simple. After min qablu wa min ba'du, if we have mudaf ilayh, then they will decline. And if we don't have mudaf ilayh after that, then they will not decline. They will be mabniyun ala dhamma. Let's look at the example over here. وَكُنْتُ مُدِيرًا مِنْ قَبْلُ. So as you can see over here now, after that we don't have mudaf ilayh. That's why we can see here that I was the headmaster earlier, and here it has not declined. And we have the example from the Quran, لِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ بَعْدُ. So now we can see over here, it's confirmed from the Quran that when the mudaf ilayh is omitted, then they will be mabni ala dhamma. And when we have mudaf ilayh after that, then they will decline like a regular noun. All right, so now inshallah, I hope the concepts are clear now, and now we can implement them. And the reason why we discuss all the time the concepts in the beginning of the lesson, the reason is so that we can implement them while we are doing our lesson. If we don't do our lesson, we don't learn these points before we start the lesson, then it will be difficult to implement them. Yes, is there any question?
Can I ask you a question, please, Ustad?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. In my here key book is I have got harfu imtina'in, li imtina'in.
Harfu imtina'in, limtina'in, that's right, yeah. It's basically used to express like a wish in the past. So I dropped it out because we will discuss about it in detail in the lessons. So that's why I only focused on low conditional sentence as of now. And when we do the exercises, we will discuss about it in detail. So basically, I dropped it, وَيَّاكُمْ. I dropped it on purpose. وَيَّاكُمْ. Al-Mudarrisu. Could you please mute your mic? Says Al-Mudarrisu. أرحب بكم في اليوم الأول من العام الجديد. So first we vowelize it, we put the vowels, and then we will translate it. أرحب بكم في اليوم الأول من العام الجديد. So أرحب, it's basically رحب يرحب ترحيبا. This is verb form number 2 on the pattern of صبح يسبح تسبيحا, and it always comes with the preposition of be, and it means I welcome all of you. أرحب بكم. Now we have in the beginning we have dhamma, and after that, if ainul kalima, if it has kasra, as we can see over here, if it has kasra, that means it is not passive. But if it has fatha, then we will say that this is passive. So this is a very minute difference that you need to notice down, that when we have dhamma in the beginning and the second last letter, if it has fatha, then it will be passive. And when it has kasra, as we can see over here, then it will be active. أرحب بكم, I welcome you, fil yawmil awili, the first day, من العام الجديد, of the new year. So I welcome you of the first day of the new year. متى وصلتم من بلادكم? So متى وصلتم, as we know that this is simple, وصل يصل, and وصلتم, you arrived, min, from, بلادكم, from your countries. So this is a simple sentence. We can see that this is a verbal sentence because we have discussed in detail that there are only two types of sentences, a verbal sentence or nominal sentence. If it's a verbal sentence, it will consist of fail plus file. So we can say here wasaltum is fail plus file, and mata is basically it's dharf, and it is in the place of maful fihi, but it has come in the beginning of the sentence because it's a question word and it always comes in the beginning of the sentence. Min biladikum, min, from, biladikum, jar majroor, from your countries. So when did you arrive from your countries? Ahmadu, Ahmad, wasalna qabla usbu'in. So wasalna, we arrived, fail plus file. And now we can see here that qabla usbu'in is in the place of maf'ul fihi, as it is dharf. We know that qabla is used as special mudaf. That's why the noun that follows it will be always mudaf ilayh. And the whole construction is basically maf'ul fihi. Wasalna qabla usbu'in, we arrived a week ago. Al-Husaynu, amma ana, fawasaltu amsi. So we know that amma, whenever we talk about amma, it has mubtada and khabar, and the khabar always comes with fa. As we can see over here, we have discussed in detail in the previous lesson. So amma ana, so ana will be, as you know, it will be mubtada, and fawasaltu will be khabar. So amma ana fawasaltu amsi, and as for me, I arrived yesterday, and we know that amsi is maf'ul fihi, but it is mabni al kasra. Even though it should be, original construction should be wasaltu amsa, but we know that this is mabni al kasra. That's why we will say that this is maf'ul fihi, and it is in the place of maf'ul fihi. So this is mahallan mansub. Aliyun, ana wasaltu. So it's a very simple sentence. Ana mubtada and wasaltu is khabar. Ana wasaltu, I arrived. Yawma thulathai, on Tuesday. And again, the complete construction, Yawma thulathai, we can see that this is a mansub. So this is also a dharf, time. So ana wasaltu yawma thulathai, I arrived on Tuesday. Wa dhahabtu, and I went. Ila makkata, mamnu min as-sarf, to Makkah. Li, to ada al-umrati, to perform umrah. Wa baqitu, and I remained or I stayed. Hunaka. Hunaka is also dharf. It means there. Wa baqitu hunaka, and I stayed there. Thalathata ayamin, 3 days. And as we have seen over here, thalathata will be basically naibu dharfi lil ayamin. So I stayed over here for 3 days. Wa raja'tu, and I returned. Al-barihata, last night. So al-barihata, as it refers to the time, so this is also maf'ul fihi. Ana wasaltu yawma thalathai, I arrived on Tuesday. Wa dhahabtu ila makkata li ada al-umrati, and I went to Makkah to perform umrah. Wa baqitu hunaka thalathata ayamin, and I stayed over there 3 days. Wa rajatu al-barihata, and I returned yesterday. So yawma thalathai and hunaka thalathat ayamin and barihata, all of them, they are maf'ulun fihi. Al-mudarris, the teacher. Ahlan wa sahlan. Again, I welcome you, an expression of welcoming someone. Jamalan, now we have Jamalan. Ya ustadu. Atasmahu, samiha yasmahu, and to permit someone for something. Atasmahu li an ajlisa. So an ajlisa, this is al-masdaru al-muawwalu, right? So atasmahu li an ajlisa, will you allow me to sit? Amamaka, in front of you. So we know that amama is also a dharf, and it is used as special mudaf. Will you allow me to sit in front of you? So tasmahu is fail plus file, and an ajlisa is in the place of maf'ul bihi. It is that receiver of the action. So will you allow me to sit in front of you? Inna indeed. So now we know that inna is not something new for you. We have discussed about it a lot. So we have ismu inna and khabaru inna. So ismu inna will be inna hadha al-maq'ada. Indeed, this seat, and then this is ismu inna, and this one is khabaru inna. Khalin is empty. Khalin, what is the status of Khalin here? Is it marfu or mansub or majroor?
مرفوع
Marfu. And what kind of noun is this?
منقوص
Manqus. Excellent. What will be the original past tense?
قال
خلا يخلو.
خلا
وإذا
يخلو.
خلوا إلى
خالٍ.
شياطينهم خلا يخلو. Yes. So this is خلا يخلو خالٍ. So this is ismun manqus. Excellent. فإن inna again, as we know that it is used to start a new idea or to connect to the previous idea. It's a connecting particle. فإن صاحبه, as its honor, sahib is used for the companion or the honor, and who refers to the seat. طوي قيده. طوى يطوي. We have learned about it. طوى يطوي means to fold. طوي will be the passive tense. طوي قيده. قيد, as we can see here over there. قاد يقود قيدا. So this is basically masdar. So طوي folded. قيده his register. So basically it means that his enrollment has been cancelled. طوي قيده العام الماضية, in the past year. So in the past year, his registration was cancelled. Okay, now طوي can be replaced with the verb that we discussed in the previous lesson, tamma. You remember tamma? Something that has been completed. So we can also say tamma qayduhu, that his registration has been cancelled. So either we can use tamma or we can use طوي. Qayd is basically, if you remember, like if you want to say he is still alive, huwa ma zala ala qayd al-hayati. He is still alive. So qayd means to restrict something. So this is basically, this is an expression that is used in Arabic language. So when you use this expression, that tuwiya qayduhu, that means that he has been dropped. So he has been dropped from maybe from the college or from anywhere. So this expression will be used. In this context, we will say that his enrollment has been cancelled. Al-aam al-madiya, the past year or the last year. Al-mudarrisu ijlis haythu shi'ta. Haythu, as we have discussed, that it is both, in the previous lessons we discussed, it is basically used as both dharfu zamanin wa makanin. So it is mabni ala dhamma, ijlis, fail plus file, sit, haythu shi'ta, wherever you want. So it is in the place of maful fihi. Now we will not say that this is maful bihi, this is maful fihi, which is basically dharf. Sit wherever you want to. Az-Zubairu. La uridu an ajlisa. I don't want to sit. So an ajlisa, what will be the status of an ajlisa? Quickly, please tell me. Is it marfu or mansub or majroor?
منصوب
Mansub. Excellent.
مفعول به.
La uridu, because it is maful bihi. Perfect. So la uridu an ajlisa. I don't want to sit. Tahta al-mirwahati, under the fan, and we know that tahta is used as special mudaf as well, and itself it's a dharf. فإن, as indeed, ذلك يضرني, that hurts me. ضر يضر. So يضرني, it hurts me. ذلك refers to what?
مروحة.
مروحة is feminine, isn't it? So it should be تحت المروحة فإن ذلك فإن تلك يضرني. Then it should be تلك يضرني.
It refers to Mazur Mu'abbal an ajlisa.
Sitting, yes, exactly. So it refers to sitting. So basically, يضرني ذلك, in fact, sorry. So ذلك يضرني. So he says, لا أريد أن أجلس تحت المروحة. I don't want to sit under the fan. فإن ذلك يضرني, because it hurts me. So ذلك refers to sitting over there. So that's why we have discussed that an ajlisa masdar al-muawwal can be translated as to sit, and it also can be translated as sitting. So it will be basically sitting under the fan hurts me. Afa ajlisa khalfa jamalin. Afa. So basically fa is, as I said, it is a connecting particle, and we know that a is harf istifham, and normally it comes in the beginning of the sentence because it's used to ask a question. So that's why fa has come after that. Afa ajlisu khalfa jamalin. So fa, so, as we know it means so. So do I sit behind Jamal? So we know that khalfa is also dharf, and it is used as special mudaf. That's why Jamalin is mudaf ilayh. So do I sit behind Jamal? Al-mudarrisu la mani' ladayya. La mani'. What kind of la is this? La an-nafiya lil jinsi. The la of absolute negation. La ilaha illallah. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. So al-mudarrisu, as we can see here, again la mani ladayya, so it has been doubled. I don't mind. جمالا أين سافرت في عطلة الصيف هذه السنة يا أستاذ? Okay, أين, where? سافرت, سافر, يسافر, مسافرة. So this is basically verb form number 3 on the pattern of جاهد, يجاهد, مجاهدة. Where did you travel? في عطلة الصيف, during the summer vacation. هذه السنة, this year يا أستاذ, or teacher. So now we can see here, هذه will be the deputy of as-sanata. So we will say that this is naibul dharf. Excellent. Yes. Al-mudarrisu ila al-Filippini, to the Philippines or to the Philippines. Jamalun alam tamurra bi Kuala Lumpur. So we know that Kuala Lumpur is basically the name of the city. Alam tamurra, marra yamurru, mururan. What's the meaning of marra? To pass by. And when we have lam before it, then we know that the verb has to be majzoom. So here it is majzoom. But why it has fatha?
Because of double letter?
Yes, it was basically tamurru. And when we make it majzoom, then we cannot drop a letter. So what we have to do, we have to change the haraka. So dhamma has changed into fatha. Normally what we do with the regular verbs, we have to drop the ending letter. But here, because we have two same letters and they have been merged into one, so that's why it's not possible to drop ra. So what we will do over here now, we will change a dhamma into fatha. So alam tamurra and marra yamurru, it comes with the preposition of be. So alam tamurra bi Kuala Lumpura. Didn't you pass by Kuala Lumpur? Al-mudarrisu bala. So here it means why not, right? Why not? Walakinnani. Walakinna is also from the sisters of inna. Walakinnani lam amkuth. Now you can see over here that amkuth is mabniyun because of lam. So mabniyun ala sukun because it has become majzoom now because of lam. Lam amkuth fiha tawilan. I didn't stay there for a long time, and fiha refers to the city over here because we know all cities are feminine. So I didn't stay there. It was basically waqtan tawilan, and waqtan has been dropped. Like jayadan, and you remember we discussed about jayadan. So what happened over there? Waqtan has been dropped, and tawilan has basically taken over the place of naib al-dharf. So it will be naib al-dharf over here now. Jamalun, Jamal. Kam labitha thamma ya ustadu. How long did you stay over there, O teacher? Thamma means hunaka. This is also dharf. So as we have in the Quran, muta'in thamma amin. Obeyed there, as we can see here, referring to Jibreel alayhi salam, obeyed there in the heavens and trustworthy. So thamma means there. It means hunaka. And this is the richness of the Arabic language, that there are so many different words to give one meaning. So it means kam labitha thamma ya ustadu. How long did you stay there, O teacher? And labithu, I stayed. Labitha yalbathu, labithu thammata. Thammata is also dharf. And it has the same meaning as hunak. So both of them have the same meaning. So sometimes in the Quran only thamma has been used. So we have thamma, it has been used in the Quran. However, thamma hasn't been used in the Quran, but it is also a dharf, and it means there. Labithtu thammata yawman aw ba'da yawmin. I stayed over there a day or a part of the day. Jamalun. لو عرفت أنك تأتي إلى بلدي لاستقبلتك في المطار. لو عرفت, as we can see here that after لو we have the past tense, and law is used to introduce a conditional sentence. لو عرفت أنك. Normally we use innaka in the beginning of the sentence, and after the past tense we use anna, and there is ismu anna, which is ka, and tati will be khabaru anna. لو عرفت أنك تأتي إلى بلدي, had I known that you are coming to my country, لاستقبلتك في المطار, I could have welcomed you at the airport. إلى بلدي, to my country, لاستقبلتك. So here we can see that after لو we use لا. So that's why it is لاستقبلتك. Similarly, استقبل يستقبل استقبالا is also, the hamza is hamzatul wasl, so that's why when we connect it, we will read it as لاستقبلتك and not لا استقبلتك. That will be wrong. لاستقبلتك في المطار, I could have waited for you at the airport. Now, for this, we can have an example from the Quran. لو, as we can see here, it is used to introduce a condition. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل. And after that, as we know that we have to use لا after that. So we can see over here, لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. Had we sent down this Quran to a mountain, you would have seen it humbled, burst apart out of awe or anger of awe for Allah. So now we can see here that after law we have la, and similarly we can see that we have tanween over here, and after tanween, if we have lam and it has tashdid on it, then the rule of the tajweed is that we will not produce the noon sound. So it will be ala jabalin, but when we connect it, it will be لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا. So it will be جبل لرأيته وليس جبل لرأيته, and that's just the rule of the tajweed. So now we can see here that after law we have this, we have la after that. أسافرت إلى سنغافورة أيضا. أسافرت, so we can see here that this is سافر يسافر مسافرة إلى سنغافورة. Now it has fatha. Why? Because we know that it is mamnu min as-sarf. The names of the countries are mamnu min as-sarf. And similarly, we have aydan. Why is it mansub? It is mansub because it is a dharf. It is an adverb. And we have discussed that adverbs are always mansub. Asafarta ila Singapurata aydan. Did you also travel to Singapore? Al-mudarrisu la. No. Jamalun. Alam tusafir ilayha min qablu. Alam tusafir. So after lam, the verb will be majzoom. Ilayha, ha refers to Singapore. Min qablu. Now we can see here that qablu is mabni ala dhamma. Why? Because there is no mudaf ilayh after that. Didn't you travel to? Didn't you already, or didn't you travel to it before? Al mudarrisu na'am. Lam usafir ilayha qattu. I never traveled to it before. Now, after when we have a question, when we ask a question using hamzatul istifham, so this is called a negative question. So the negative question, usually the answer is bala. The answer will be bala when you have done something or when you have already done something. For example, if I ask you, alam tadhhab ila makkata, didn't you go to Makkah? If you already traveled, you would say bala. But if you never traveled, then you will say naam, la lam adhab ila Makkah. So similarly, as we can see here, that here naam doesn't mean yes. Yeah, it means yes, but here it is used. Then we have to use the sentence after that, which supports it, saying that you didn't perform that action. So that's why you can see here, after naam, we have to give the complete sentence, which is negative. So we can see here, al-mudarrisu naam, lam usafir ilayya qattu. I never traveled to it. And similarly, qattu always comes with the past tense. With the present tense, we use abadan, and with the past tense, we use qattu. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.